Welcome to our iHeartRadio album release party with Jon Bon Jovi, celebrating the launch of Bon Jovi's new album, Forever, presented by Hulu. From the iHeartRadio Theater in Los Angeles, here's your host, Valentine.
Guys, thanks for joining us tonight across the country at iHeartRadio and, of course, on our free iHeartRadio app. Tonight, we celebrate the legacy of one of the most recognizable bands in the world as they mark 40 incredible years with a brand new album called Forever. We'll listen to a few songs from the album, talk about those songs with none other than the frontman of this legendary group. The group, of course, is Bon Jovi. Let me introduce you to Jon Bon Jovi. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams it would be 40 years and counting?
No. I think that the only thing I ever thought about in my youth when we started out was the year 2000. Because for some reason that was that big number. You know, the rest of us was wondering what would happen in the world. I thought, I'm gonna be 38, maybe I'll be married, maybe I'll have kids, maybe I'll be making records. But I never thought past the year 2000. So to be here now at 40 years, when it's commonplace to hear about bands that are on the road for 50 years, and the Rolling Stones are 80 plus years old and kicking ass out there. I mean, it's really the norm now. 40 years is not a big deal. We're young.
Exactly right. I like how you think. Let's talk about the evolution. I mean, we talk about Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, New Jersey and stuff, and now here we are with Forever. Yeah. What's been the evolution of the albums for you?
I think that we grew up in public. I mean, there's a huge difference between the eponymous first album and this, my 18th album. We grew up in public, and we took folks on a journey that started once upon a time when I was 21 years old with Runaway. Some people got on the train at the very beginning, may have gotten off after Slippery in New Jersey, or, others got on at Keep the Faith. Others got on at Crush with It's My Life. Others got on again because of Lost Highway in the Country, influence. So that's the whole beauty of a 40-year career. Yeah. People get on and off the train.
Your last album, 2020, was more of a snapshot about what was happening in the world. Forever, to me, seems to be more of a joyous approach, more of a fun attitude. Was there a shift in your storytelling? Was there a shift in how you felt?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the album 2020, no matter who you are, where you were, we all experienced the COVID world together. Yeah. And in America, there was a big election happening. There was a certain uneasiness in the country. And for the first time in my life, in my career, I couldn't go out and promote a record. We couldn't tour it, we couldn't talk about it. And so when we took the cover off the ball again, if you will, I was able to write more songs and to readdress some of the material. So then I said, okay, wait a minute. I'm the narrator now. I'm gonna opine about what I see going on in the world around us. So I took a different viewpoint. The guy that was home watching television, really, reading the newspaper. Yeah. In light of what happened with that record, and it's subsequently now the 40th, and coming what I believe to be the end of this journey on my throat surgery, is that there's joy again, and the prospect of joy again, and I can see it, and I can taste it, and there's a feeling amongst the guys in the band that they were there for me, that they were there not only for the 40 years, but they were there during this struggle, and not one of them said, I want money, or we got to go, or let's go. It's when you're ready, we're ready, and that joy has been rediscovered.
So to find that joy, and I'm glad it's been rediscovered, and I can hear it in the music too, because a lot of these are just absolute bangers. Yeah. You get that feeling, and it may not explain it too well here, but as the song goes, there's that moment where it hits, and I'm picturing you on a stage, and the lights just go wild. You guys have always been so great at that, and I feel that in this music, that hero moment where,
amen, brother.
Bam,
bam, bam. And then he says, bam. That's what this record is. Yeah. It's us at our best when the audience are happy and we're happy. Yeah. I'm very capable of writing that unbroken and American reckoning, but we're really good when we write Legendary.
Do you feel like, okay, so we go through kind of a decade almost to get to this point, to feel this massive joy, right? Do you feel like people need this record to feel this?
That's up to the people. You know, after I let go of it, then it's not mine anymore. Yeah. It's like, it'll take me 2 years to even know what the record means because it's still too new. I know every note, every nuance of the mixing, everything that we did to make this record happen, the collective we, to make this record happen. And so now I'm too close. It's gonna take a couple years to be removed from it.
So I know you're pretty proud of Legendary, your first song released off the album. What's the inspiration behind the song?
I think when you're looking back on something like this 40th, you start to turn back the pages of a book. I'd spent too much time in my life always looking ahead and very little time looking back. And recalling so many of the great things that we, the collective band, have done, I realized that really what matters to me anymore in this world is not accomplishment, it's the little things. It's this fistful of friends that stand up for me, my wife, my kids, my band, my friends. And the rest of it, it's just high school with money. It's just nonsense. And I left that a long time ago, but I'm not interested in any of those trappings anymore. It's just, it's all about what really, truly matters. It's the only thing that's gonna get me out of bed anymore.
Yeah. So Bon Jovi has a few anthems under their belt, obviously. What makes Legendary an anthem to you? Because I feel like it's gonna be.
I think that, well, yeah, it is. It's a hit song already. How about that? Old white guys with hit songs. I think that the magic is going to be that it's not our story anymore. Right. It's not mine. Yeah. You're going to make those lyrics about you and your friends. And that's where Tommy and Gina were born. You know, that's those stories. That's the answer, is these characters are going to be yours and your friends.
Celebrating the launch of Bon Jovi's new album, Forever, presented by Hulu. I'm your host, Valentine. We're listening to tracks from the new album with the man himself, Jon Bon Jovi, of course. Talk to me about We Made It Look Easy.
I think the sentiment echoes what Legendary already set up for you. But let me give you a little more overview of the record. Legendary was meant to lead off the storytelling. Like I'd said, what really matters anymore is about those who believed in you when you were, you know, your highest highs and your lowest lows. Telling you that we made it look easy, it wasn't easy. It was hard work. But that's what made it all the more sweet, right? Because we were able to come through it. But there's a story about an album called Slippery When Wet. When we wrote Slippery and we went to Vancouver to record it, we had this sense that You Give Love a Bad Name could be a radio-friendly song. And after the Fahrenheit record and the gold plus success that it had, we were looking to get to that next level and we write Bad Name. But we didn't know what the rest of that record held. And there was a song on it called Living on a Prayer that was so different. It didn't sound like anything else on the radio. It was, you know, still is one of our biggest songs. Yeah. And it changed the landscape of what rock and roll radio sounded like at that time. I think that the potential of Easy is that. Or this next song, if you say, okay, I've heard 2 songs. Sounds a little soft. I'm wondering if they rock anymore. Well, let me tell you a story. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry, I love that.
So, like we said on the talk box of Slippery When Wet, we pulled it out. None of you all really are old enough here, as Valentine is, but but in the 80s, Peter Frampton and Joe Walsh were famous for the talk box, but Richie sort of commandeered it, and since then everybody will think that it's a Bon Jovi instrument. Really? You know, how many people have used the talk box actively since? Not that many. Like say, we're associated with the talk box. Anyway, if you think those are a little soft, this one rocks a little bit harder, and this brings the talk box back, but it's called Living Proof, and this really relates now to the fans, where it'll say, this family tree, what is it? I'm delirious at this point. This family tree, Christ. Yeah, listen to the lyric. I'll point it out.
It'll be there. It'll be in the lyrics. Don't worry.
This family tree's got roots.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I'm delirious. This family tree's got roots, and we are the living proof. So, all you guys that want to rock, check this out. It's called Living Proof. Right. This family tree's got nothing left to prove now.
Right.
Me and you, we're the living proof. We didn't forget how to rock on this record, trust me.
You did not. Not at all. This is our iHeartRadio album release party with Jon Bon Jovi, celebrating the launch of Bon Jovi's new album, Forever, presented by Hulu. I'm your host, Valentine. Please use the hashtag iHeartBonJovi. We're listening to tracks from the new album and talking to Jon Bon Jovi himself. Living Proof. When I hear that song, when I think about that song, and I'm sure this is what you strive for, this is what you go for when you put a song out there in the world, that hits me. I got a 16-year-old son. I think about, my dad who's no longer with me,
right,
and then me to him,
right.
And that family tree, and the importance of that, and just where I am with him in this world.
Good, because it's changing. You're growing, and he's growing, and there's roots, but there's new branches, and that's a part of the cycle of life, which is, again, interesting chapters in all of our lives. But for those of you who are just getting on this journey with the band, I'm 6 chapters into my book, right? And so you're like, wow, there's a whole lot of different things that are priorities now than they were when I was 20.
Well, when we talk about things being different priorities and stuff, the process of writing a song has to have changed. You're different now than I assume in the beginning, or is it a bit of the same?
Well, the process is the same. The content is deeper. But again, I would be remiss if I was trying to rewrite You Give Love a Bad Name. We're not 25 years old. That's what I had to say at 25. That's what if I were writing that at 62 and coming in and, dude. You know better than to think that I was going to be that guy. It's just not me. So, and nor should it have been. Right. We're just evolving. Yeah. The process is the same. It's just, you're evolving. Yeah.
Where you are in life, what you're thinking, how you approach things, 4 kids, all of that stuff, it's changed you, obviously. So the topics will be different.
They should be. Like I said, Dude is not going to be the name of the next album.
Let's get into another song.
This next track is also reminiscent of older stuff, but really sounding contemporary. Subject matter, there's a song called Waves on the record. And you could be talking about relationships in turbulent times, or you're really talking about coming to the truth of the matter is that you're actually saying goodbye to something or someone, at a certain point where you have to just, it's time to really let go and just refer to that from now on as a memory. Right. So that's what this song is. It's called Waves.
Waves, another great song that you wrote. The inspiration behind that song.
Like I said, letting go as opposed to just trying to hold on to something that's in the past. It comes with a lot of therapy that you learn to let go, right, because otherwise, it's staying with you and just running it over and over and over and over. Yeah. The history's not going to change, right. So that's really where it was.
Yeah, you can't change that. Tide's going to come in, those waves are going to keep coming, so you have to find that way to deal with that stuff. You have to deal with it, and like I'd said, it's sort of better to let go sometimes than to keep holding on. And you can't hold on to the tide. It's always going to come and it's going to go, but you just let it go. Amen. But there's been a lot of that kind of therapy in this record. In order to get to joy, you had to take a rocky road through the obstacles that became part of the journey. This next song is called Seeds. Yeah. And I was staring out the window of my apartment in Manhattan, and there was a crack in the sidewalk, and I was watching people walking by this crack in the sidewalk, and I thought, there's 100 stories that are happening right now
outside of this window, lives, deep, rich stories of each of these individuals. And who are they? What are they? What do they want to say? You know, and that we're all just trying to make our way, figuring out who and what we want to be. You know, and there was this crack in the sidewalk. There's a deep crack in the sidewalk near the park bench on my street. If you don't trip, you'll walk by it. There's a whole world we don't see. And you'll see that this song is about, you know, the seeds becoming rich leaves. The string arrangement is a nod to, like I said, the man who was nice enough to announce to the world that I was going to be the Music Cares recipient, and the Beatles. And so it's really it's fun for me to say we wasted a lot of money on a string arrangement to do the Beatles. Yeah. Worth it.
Yeah, worth it. Every bit.
So, but anyhow, I think I hope you'll like it as much as I do. This is it's really coming to see the sun shining again now. You know, this is a part of the sunrise of the record. This one's called Seeds. Definitely fun to record, you know, and you know, a different song, very different song for us. Yeah. One I'm very happy with, very happy.
It's so funny too to look into the world of you and the members of the band and stuff, and the writing process, everything else. And you know, here's you looking out a window in New York at a crack in the pavement by a park bench, and you're going, imagine a seed coming out in the weeds and fighting through all that. And I'm going, somebody's got to fix that. You know, it's interesting how people look, and I think everyone has their gift, of course, but it's interesting how you look at things.
That's the magic of songwriting. Sometimes it happens just like that. I literally was staring out the window and I was like, oh, there it is. You know, so just that's the magic. When it happens, you don't know where it comes from or why, but when it does, you just run to the notebook. And
now, I could ask you if you have a favorite song on the album, but a lot of times that's gonna be like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
So let me kind of flip it, unless you want to answer that.
No, I don't have one.
Okay, let me flip it in this respect. Is there a song that you feel, with your fans and newcomers to Bon Jovi, is there a song that will make the most impact?
Again, you know, that's a difficult question to answer, because lyrically I might say to you that a song called Hollow Man will impact me, but it won't be on your radio station. Okay. Living Proof might be the one that goes, everybody's like, yeah, rock song, you know, and legendary means more to me lyrically. So it's very hard to discern one from another. But they're all a part of the package. I think for my generation of songwriter and band leader, it's very important to present an album with a beginning, a middle, and an end, because it has all of these different flavors and points of view that tell one message, but over the course of 10 or 12 songs. Yeah. You know, you really can't just say it's one or two. It's not fair.
Has that changed in some respects, the storytelling of the
me.
album? Not for you, and I'm glad to hear that, because, you know, nowadays that might not be the case.
Right.
They just put a track on.
Correct.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason, you know, because there's algorithms and radio stations that like a certain kind of beat at a certain time of day. I cannot subscribe to that. I mean, I go back 25 years ago with the advent of the iPod, was when they broke apart the album. Right. The album was sacred to me. It was a beginning and a middle and an end of a movie or a book. Right. You know, you couldn't have broke that art apart. Right. So no, for me, it's an album. There's a reason for it.
And you ever fell into the old Billy Joel world of they told me I had to cut it down to 305?
Yeah, exactly. But you know, that's a generation from whence we came. And that's who we are as writers and performers. So that's where we're entitled to that. You know, as the new generation are entitled to their truth.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I understand your daughter will be married soon.
And two of my sons.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations. Everybody's out of the house.
No.
No?
Romeo's hiding under the bed somewhere. We have 4 children. Yeah. Part of this journey, like we keep talking about with a 40-year career, is that I've grown up publicly in your eyes, in everyone that's listening's eyes. And in this chapter of my life, all the babies that were once, you know, on the road with us for the first time are now grown and thinking about children of their own. So I have 3 kids that are going to be married in the next year, and only one of them is my daughter. So there was only one that I could write, you know, this song about. And the only person in the world that hasn't heard it yet is my daughter. So you guys are hearing it because I'm a chicken. And she hasn't heard it.
Wow. So does she want to hear it, or does she want to wait to the day?
She don't know it exists.
She doesn't. Well, listen, this is not a secret. I hate to break it to you. This is going to get out. We've got people here.
I know.
Okay.
It's that time. But I've been thoughtfully forgetting to tell her about it for about a year and a half.
For a year and a half.
Yeah, and I co-wrote this with my dear friend Billy Falcon, and as we were writing it, I was crying, and as I was singing it in the studio, I was crying, and the only one that hasn't heard it is Steph. So, yeah, I'm really, really proud of this song, and it'll be impossible to sing at her wedding. But I hope you like it as much as I do, and if anyone else is getting married, feel free to use this song. It's called Kiss the Bride.
This is our iHeartRadio album release party with Jon Bon Jovi, celebrating the launch of Bon Jovi's new album, Forever. Kiss the Bride is going to have everybody in tears every time they hear it. And I hope they always use your version, because I'm afraid that there's going to be a bunch of dads that are going to feel like they could try and sing it, and that's not going to be good.
I'd rather have the dad than the wedding singer guy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Is it the new wedding song? Do you think it will be?
Let's just say I played that for Ed Sheeran, and Ed Sheeran went, touche. Yeah, I played it for Ed, and he was like, I never thought of that one.
Oh.
Yeah, Ed was pretty impressed with that one, so I was very happy to share it with him.
Well, I think it hits because, I mentioned to you I have one son, 16, and we were one and done for various reasons. But so I'll never walk that daughter down the aisle, and you've got this moment coming up. Yeah. You're gonna be a wreck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have two of my sons getting married this year too. Yeah. So it's actually an incredible time in our lives, and it's one of joy.
Right.
But yeah, it's when I wrote a song for Steph on an album called Crush 25 years ago, called I Got the Girl, she was, a little baby. She was 5, a 5-year-old princess to me. Now she's 30. And I'm writing her this.
And she's been on stage with you with that song before, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have the boys ever been on stage before with you?
No, I don't think so.
Not so much?
No, I don't think so, now that I think of it. No, probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future Romeo will be, because he's a songwriter. So we'll see about that. But no, I think Steph was the beneficiary. And then I wrote a song called The Story of Love on the last record that was about all of the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, they come.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that idea of having the kids with you throughout as much as you could of that career,
It's all a part of this journey that we and our listeners have been on, and that we've all had these kids together. Your kids, my kids, our kids. We were once kids, now we're not kids, So that's the beautiful thing about this journey, is I've witnessed these stories with our listeners that have taken our records in and made those stories their own.
Did you ever have a moment with the kids throughout their years and stuff where you caught one of them bragging about you a bit? Like, oh yeah, my dad's Jon Bon Jovi.
It's more the opposite.
No, they kept it a little quiet, did they?
No, they're good. They're good about it. They're good about it. I mean, they're good. It's interesting to watch, because what is their perspective?
Right.
Is it good? Is it indifferent? Or is it bad? But I think overall, it's been pretty good.
Love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
How about another song?
Okay, let's just leave it with a big rock song, because I've taken up enough of your time. There's an old biblical tale about the walls of Jericho coming down and the singing, bringing down those walls. And these are those walls that divide us, and the voices of the collective we that bring us together. And as we go forward, the idea that the collective we is going to be very important in these 4 months that are ahead of us, and the years that are ahead of that. So I hope that we can leave each other with the promise that we'll just try to do a little better tomorrow. And maybe there will be a forever as a result. But thank you. I'm going to leave you with that. And this is a big rock song to walk you right out the door with. This one's called The Walls of Jericho. And thank you, Valentine. Thank you, iHeart. Thank you, John Sykes. This has been great.
Jon Bon Jovi, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, enjoying songs from the brand new Bon Jovi album, Forever. It's available everywhere today, by the way. So I wish you and the band all kinds of success. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Valentine. Good night, everybody.